Okay, hello, my friends. So I'm going to be very, very quick. Four big stories today. Viktor Orban says, quote, Ukraine is a strong state, but it cannot be the EU and NATO. And again, he says, quote, Europeans do not have enough money for it, unquote, he said in an interview. So he's going to be an impediment the entire way through until Ukraine is NATO, until Ukraine is part of the EU. Okay, it's big story number two. Russian defense minister complains to the U.S. Secretary of Defense about a covert operation that Ukraine was planning. Kyiv was advised not to do it. Ukraine was apparently preparing this operation, and then the Pentagon surprised that the defense minister from Russia was calling them, but he did, and then they called it off. Not sure exactly how that works, but apparently they were talking to each other. Talking to each other is probably good, and I'm not sure what to make of the rest of that story, but I know it's a big story. Big story number three. So the head of Russia's investigative committee proposed prioritizing sending foreigners who have gained citizenship in Russia, like they've gained Russian passport, Russian citizenship, to the special military operation. This is going to be great for Putin to keep average run-of-the-mill citizens in Russia happily not worrying about the war in Ukraine. And in big story number four, Kadyrov, he says that YouTube does not respect Russia and it blocks Russian YouTube sites. So the solution is to block all American websites, all American YouTube channels. Okay, you can do that, but then you're just doubling down on insulation of information, so that's not a good plan either, but that's probably the kind of thing that they would do. And then big story number five. So Donald Trump yesterday said this, and I'm going to quote it. He said, "You have to get out and vote. You won't have to do it anymore." Now that's the part that got people like, what? You won't have to do it anymore? Okay. 4 years, it will be fixed. It will be fine. In 4 years, you won't have to vote again. We will have it fixed. So good. Now, you can put the best face on it or the worst face on it. What he means, I think, is I will do such a great job that you wouldn't even need to vote in 4 years because I'm so awesome and dreamy. Now, or you can read that as he's a dictator. He's already telling you he's going to be a dictator. There won't be a vote again. You don't need to go down that path. The simple path is he's saying he's going to do such a great job you wouldn't even need to vote again because it'll all be fixed. That is the better interpretation, and you should take the kinder interpretation. You have plenty to pick on in Trump, and so pick on the things that he had without having to go into a place where you're trying to create a boogeyman that's not really there because it's not really there. And you should do the same thing to Kamala Harris. Absolutely, do the same thing. When she says something, give her the benefit of the doubt for what you think she actually meant, not the worst interpretation. And that's the best way to achieve a good understanding within our political discourse. Okay, thank you for the time, the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.